This is how I also see the characters. Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of The Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now, if you like one of those things, or all of those things, why don't you consider subscribing, and hit that notification bell, and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, first and foremost, thank you for stopping by, having this cup of coffee with me, and I hope all is well with you, and it's good to see you, and thank you for taking this time out. So first and foremost, this is going to be a coffee talk of a part 2 of a video that I just did recently about A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And in that video, I gave a review of that. I read the first 3 books, and then I talked about the actors who I could see if it was adapted to live action, and I also gave profiles / dossiers of who the characters are and how they influence in the story. So all of that is in part 1. So here, this is not going to be that video. I'm not going to rehash those things about my thoughts or who the characters are or blah blah blah. This is just a part 2 of a part 1, and alternative casting for these characters. And this is going to be a lackadaisical video. I'm just going to talk about the actors, who else I would choose, and then where I also enjoyed their work in. So this is what we're going to do. I said I was going to do a part 2, and then also I do have a second channel. Link is going to be down in the description, and that channel is going to be more book focused, and also some of the videos that are over here will go over there that is book related. The comic books are included in that, hence the word book. So that's what that channel is, and other things are also brewing in the background along with that channel, and there will be an interchange of content between both channels. But yeah, go down, subscribe to that channel of RJ Coffee and Books. Link is down in the description. But now let's get on to my fan casting for A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So first, as our protagonist of Feyre Archeron, Alicia Denham Carey as Feyre Archeron. Now, she's Australian, and she's known for The 100 and The Walking Dead, or Fear the Walking Dead, and that's where I know her from Fear the Walking Dead. She played also with the namesake of Alicia in that show. There was like an interim season. I don't know if that was season 5 or 6. But I didn't necessarily like that season, but I never had a problem with her and her performance or what she did in that show. And as looking into people who could play Feyre, and to thinking of the character description of Feyre, she's also a person that I would see. And then also with this casting, I have aged up casting or aged up looks. Feyre is 19 in the start of the show, or in the start of the book series, and all the other Fae appears to be good looking older people. And also the time is kind of wonky, but I also speak about that in the first video. And just as somebody who would look, around her age, I believe she's 30 in real life, but certain people just age slower than others or remain looking young for a certain period of time. For her as Feyre, Alicia Denham Carey as Feyre Archeron. Now, for her sister, Elaine is the middle child, and Elaine is a quiet, reserved soul. And the thing about Elaine, I just wanted to have someone who could be reserved and versatile at the same time. And Elaine, with all the other Archeron sisters, they show up here and there throughout the book series. Well, the first 3 books that I read, and then they become more prominent as the story goes on. And I pick Olivia Cooke, and Olivia Cooke is from where I know her from, or when I first saw her was in Bates Motel. And then she was in one of my favorite movies that I highly recommend is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. and she plays the character of the dying girl in that movie. Major spoiler, but it's already in the title. And the movie is a long journey, and I enjoyed her performance in that. She's also the love interest in Ready Player One, which I feel like is an underrated gem. You can see her now in House of the Dragon, and yeah, she's just a very good actress, very versatile in her roles, and I think that that would just be a good, nice paycheck for her playing Elaine, because Elaine is quiet, reserved, very sweet as a person, and then things become more elevated for her as the story goes on. And I also like her as an actress, and also I'm casting people who could be relatives, so that's something to look. The oldest sister who we have, and the actress who I picked was Pt.2 as Nesta Archeron. Now, Nesta is the oldest sister, and she has a lot of bitterness in her heart and unresolved issues as the character. So these are things that she's trying to, no, she doesn't even try to get them resolved. She just remains bitter throughout the entirety of the 3 stories that I read. But things do happen to her, but I say when things do get hectic, she is willing to do the right thing at the right time, but she's just a very bitter, dark personality. And the thing is, Pt.2 was in the originals Vampire Diaries, and I picked the actress to play Feyre in my first one, who was her daughter inside of the Vampire Diaries and the originals. I just feel like, to me, I mean, she's a little older. She's older as a person, but I also feel like she was the look of like who a Feyre be. And because I feel like if I was in this producer space of creating a movie or a TV show, I would have done that. But because looking at like the age range, I decided to have her as the older sister of Nesta Archeron, and that's who I pick, is Pt.2 as Nesta Archeron. Now, I picked the one who knocks.
Disappears. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
I picked Bryan Cranston as Mr. Archeron. And the thing about Bryan Cranston is that he's super versatile as an actor. And you know, everybody knows him as Hale, but then he got his breakout role as Walter White. And you know, for him to have a few minutes as a fatherly role was in the Godzilla 2014, and then they exited him out the movie. But I felt like he looks like he could be these women's father. He can actually be these women's father. And also from his work of Your Honor, and also being a welcoming face, and playing roles of a father in his roles that he takes. Yeah, I just see him as Mr. Archeron, Father Archeron, and that would be who I cast, is Bryan Cranston. And I feel like he is right for the role.
You're goddamn right.
Now, I'm trying not to do dossiers of like who the characters are, because I did all of that in the first video, and I'm always going to refer back to the first video because not a lot of people watch it, and I put a lot of time into it, and that's where a lot of the information comes from. But I would say, starting with the Summer Court, and the story involved with Feyre is with Tamlin. And who I would cast as Tamlin is Chris Hemsworth. That's who I saw reading the majority of the story, was Chris Hemsworth. That was the figure of a blonde, swole, muscular dude walking around, you know, his shirt open, or if not, there's like minor spoilers, there's like a party festival. There's a festival, it's called the Fire Festival, and it's all about like being sensual and exploring your body and mating with somebody. And I guess I don't want to be that dude or whatever. But yeah, never mind. But that's what the festival was. Chris Hemsworth. Yo. So yeah, that's who I would cast as Tamlin. Tamlin is the secondary lead figure inside of the first book of A Court of Thorns and Roses. His character gets reduced as the story goes on, but he's very much a constant throughout the first three books. And yes, so that's who I would pick. But also who I saw in that story as Tamlin was Prince Charming from Shrek. So that's who I also thought. And then maybe if they make a live action Shrek, it will probably be Chris Hemsworth. And yeah, that's who I saw. Now, getting into his right-hand man, his guy, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, he ends up becoming Feyre's friend too, is my man Lucien. And who I would cast is Sam Claflin as Lucien. And like, as I said in the first video, they described Lucien with a little bit of tint on his skin, little dark skin, looking more of a man that's a Spaniard or like Albanian, something like that. But from the fan casting, he looks white. He looks like from the fan art, he looks white. So Sam Claflin, and the thing about Sam Claflin, a lot of people know him as Finnick, but from the Hunger Games. But for me, which I do recognize him and know him from, but his work in Peaky Blinders, the way that he played his character in Peaky Blinders, having that control, that dominance, we, the Nerdy Brew, RJ, we're against fascism, and that's a big statement to say because democracy is dying currently where I live at, and people just don't seem to realize it. And Sam Claflin as his character seemed to embody the idea of that kind of regime, that kind of totalitarianism, and that air of arrogance and that air of superiority. And I think that made him such an attractive antagonist when he was on Peaky Blinders. But right now, I don't know how you could find it, and I'm not gonna snitch on myself, but there is the Count of Monte Cristo, and he playing Edmond Dantes, and he's just bodying the role, and the show's super fantastic. And I haven't read the book. I talk about it with my friend Robert, and that's Robert's favorite book. And because of, first of all, I love the movie, and Robert doesn't love the movie because it takes away from the source of, or the substance away from the book. So I don't know, I can't judge on that. But because I love the movie, because I'm loving the series, I'm not done watching it, and Sam Claflin being the lead, I'm gonna get into the book, and we'll talk about it on my second channel that you can subscribe to, where this video will be. So please subscribe to any video that you see me at, because I appreciate your patronage, and I appreciate you just taking time out to spend some time with me. So there's that. And yeah, because of how dominant he is, Sam Claflin as Lucien. So now we're gonna get into the Night Court, and the thing is, I'm really specifically talking to the book readers at this time of A Court of Thorns and Roses series. If I just say the Night Court, you're just like, what's the Night Court? Who is this Night Court? What is this about? But I give all that detail in the first video about what the Night Court is, because there's different courts based off of nature and intangibles. So yo, go watch that video, bro. Just go back there and do that before you watch this one. But I'll pick, for Rhysand, I pick Henry Cavill. Somebody just big and who puts in the effort, because I remember not only him being massive in Superman, Tamlin, Rhysand, and Cassian are described as very muscular individuals. And also some of my picks is coming from the fan art and casting as well that's in the space. And I just feel like because of the physicality that Henry Cavill can do and the work that he does, and how he works out, because I remember I only watched the first episode of The Witcher. The first episode was extremely boring to me, and I did not get back to the show. And also, I'm not a fan of the franchise. I haven't read any books, I haven't played any games, so I have no attachment to it. And also Netflix is hit or miss when it comes to its original programming, and I was hoping, especially already being a fan of Henry Cavill, and then, you know, a fantasy series and all of that. But his arms his arms were massive when he was swinging the sword. And I was just like, you know, because he could put in the physicality in, and he does that when he needs to get into a role. And he was super big. He's just a big dude. I don't think he's getting rid of his muscle weight for what he's doing after putting on that work for Superman. And I'll just say his work in even Argyle for playing a fictional character, like it seemed like he's about to rip out of his suits. And Rhysand is a big guy, and so also being dark haired and handsome and all of that, and I feel like where his acting capability is, and I said this in my video about the future of James Bond, which I will link to, the way that he carries suaveness and sophistication is what a character of Rhysand would need, and he already knows how to adapt that and play that for a certain role. So yeah, definitely I pick Henry Cavill as Rhysand. So this is gonna be funny, but I'm gonna just be honest. So Justin Baldoni as Azrael. So I don't know him. I don't know him from anything, right? The only thing that I do know is that he's going through a legal battle with Blake Lively. Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds' wife, right? They've been together for many years now. And the thing is, I don't know even the gossip or the particulars about this legal case. I just know that this man is in the news regarding the legal case. And I guess it has something to do with defamation. I don't know. I guess they made fun of him. I don't know what is going on to the minute details of the case. But with that being said, just the look, this is just purely off a look. I don't know. I don't even know his acting capabilities or anything. But the character Azrael is quiet, reserved. He's the spy master in the world, and he is a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart, and my heart broke for him in the story. But just based off of look wise and having an aged up alternative casting and someone who would be Illyrian, which were particular set of Fae that's in the story, I just picture he could be one. He could be one. I saw, and the thing is, I only saw his picture in the news, just, you know, as a headline. So I don't even know. I don't know nothing about him, but I was just like, I could see him being as Azrael, and there we go. He's Azrael. But back onto the list, I will say Jason Momoa as Cassian. And Cassian is the general. He's a warrior, and he is one of the best friends to Rhysand. And the thing about, and then the crazy thing is, Jason Momoa and Henry Cavill already work together in their DCEU stuff, so that's cool. That'd be cool familiarity with one another if they still got a friendship and a bond. But with him playing Duncan Idaho in Dune, and then his role in Justice League, he's good. And even in Fast 10, he was the lead villain and lead antagonist in that film, but he's still a supporting character. And the thing about Jason Momoa being a big name, he still is willing, and it having a $1 billion franchise, right? He's still willing to be a supporting actor. So Cassian does have a book. The 5th book in the series is about Cassian and getting into his POV as a character, but maybe that could be as a mini series or a full feature film starring Jason Momoa. But as of now, you know, I'm seeing him as a supporting character. And then my favorite things from Jason Momoa is the show called Red Road and the show called Frontier. Those are my favorite works from him, and I recommend those shows for anybody to watch it. And Jason Momoa as Cassie, purposely for myself, I'm just enthralled and I love it, is Catherine Winnick as Morgan, aka Moore. Now Catherine Winnick, she, for me, She played the character Lagatha in the show Vikings, and Lagatha was such a powerful performance, and Lagatha was such an amazing character, and Catherine Winnick put a lot of, you know, believability inside of that character, and I just enjoyed her in that role. She was in the show called Big Sky, and I seen her be a supporting actress in something else, but I just know that her as Morgan, you know, a blonde beauty, that's who I see is Catherine Winnick, but that's who I would cast as Moore is Catherine Winnick. Now, Gemma Chan as Amryn. You know, I talk about who Amryn is in the sense that Amryn is an ancient being, but her body is a disguise or a cover for what she truly looks like. And that's some type of beast, some type of ancient primordial being type thing. I don't know, but she looked like a fae. She looked like a fae, and she's also Asian. And the thing that I first saw Gemma Chan in was the show Humans that was on AMC, and the show lasted for 3 seasons, and the show was about AI, robots, androids, cyborgs, androids. So it was about androids and not the phone that were like assistants in people's homes. And then there was the orange-eyed ones and there was the blue-eyed ones, and the blue-eyed ones were coming into their sentience due from the dude that created them. And they were just in the home and people could do what they want with them. And then that led a division of prejudice, you know, about how much do we deal with this AI type stuff. She was the lead android in that series, so that's where I know her from. She was also Cersei in the Elementals. I did not like that movie, but she wasn't a problem in the movie. There was a lot of other factors that didn't make that movie well received by me. And yeah, I enjoyed her in that. She was also in Crazy Rich Asians as well. That's who I would cast as Amryn, is Gemma Chan. So that's the end of the Night Court. I mean, yeah, that's the end of the Night Court. Now Summer Court. All right, before I even say this, okay, friends and family, all of us as black people don't look the same. I mean, that's the thing about humanity. There's all type of unique attributes to all of us as humans walking this earth. If anybody casting a light-skinned man as Tarquin, and especially somebody who was Aaron Pierre, right, or whoever else, there's a lot of other light-skinned what's the actor's name? His name was Jesse, who was in Grey's Anatomy, right? All of them, like, just because the Summer Court has bright eyes, that does not mean that that's what Tarquin looks like. And stop trying to cast that actor. That's my spiel. But the thing is, okay, he's described as dark mahogany in the story. So who I picked was Aldis Hodge as Tarquin. Give him some contacts, braid his hair up, or give him some hair. I would like to see him in dreads. But yeah, Aldis Hodge as Tarquin. He's the youngest High Lord of any of the courts. He runs that court, and he's also political minded. And Aldis Hodge and his control, you should watch City on a Hill. The show got canceled. He was brilliant in that show. And then also you should see his work in Black Adam. Very controlled. He gave a T'Challa-esque kind of character, and is someone who could play a leader and who's dark skinned and in the forefront. Aldis Hodge is Tarquin. Love it. So then we have his cousin, Tarquin's cousin, who is his head of security, is Varian, and who I cast is Varian is Lance Gross. And Lance Gross. Let's get his name right. So yeah, is Lance Gross. Now Lance Gross, he was in this show called Crisis. Everybody knows him from Meet the Browns. Gave a beautiful performance in the movie, starring alongside Angela Bassett, and also his work in the show where he got a very good check. And I know that he's done other things. My favorite thing to see him in was Crisis, and he was the lead, and I was very sad that that show got canceled. They always cancel good things. Not a lot of eyes got onto that show, but he was good in it, and I enjoy him in it, and that's who I would cast as Varian. Now for Chrysadia, who is Varian's sister, who that in turn would make her Tarquin's cousin, is Yaya DaCosta. Yaya DaCosta, she was on America's Next Top Model. Then she spun off and did her own thing with acting. She's been in a lot of things. The most recent thing that I seen her in was in the last 2 seasons of The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. And yeah, that's why if you want to get a reference for her, I enjoy that. But I will also cast her in James Bond. Here's the second time me talking about that video and what the future of James Bond would look like. So yeah, there's that. I will talk about her in that as well. But yeah, Yaya DaCosta as Chrysadia. Now we're about to close out this video, so thank you for taking this time out to listen to me talk about TV, movies, and everything in between. But we're going to talk about the antagonist. And closing out this video as an antagonist is Jessica Chastain as Amarantha. Amarantha was the first antagonist of the story. She held the whole courts in a chokehold for the entirety of the first book, and in that time she was actually like playing with everybody's like time and their life, and she just had it like in a chokehold. And she's a very theatrical kind of individual, and I think that that would just be a good realm of like putting that out there for Jessica Chastain. And also Amarantha is described with red hair, and you know, there's a lot of plenty other actresses, and I was just going based by looks, and Jessica Chastain is talented to me. I definitely enjoyed her in Molly's Game and in Zero Dark 30, and I think a marriage story. She did a movie with Oscar Isaacs, and I enjoyed her performance in that. So yeah, she's a very fine actress, and you know, she played an antagonist in the Dark Phoenix in the X-Men movie. It was just nice to see her again take on that full-fledged villain role, and Jessica Chastain as Amarantha. So if this is your first time seeing me and I talk about it, and I have plenty of other videos, but I would pick Luke Evans as Jurian. And the thing about me and Luke Evans is I have nothing tied to this dude, right? But if I was like a producer in Hollywood, he would always have a job for me. And I've said this, and so this is me repeat saying this, but I don't know who's watching. But just like Martin Scorsese works with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, and how Ryan Coogler works with Michael B. Jordan, I would continue to work with Luke Evans. I just feel like he's an underrated talent. People, you know, calling him Gaston, or I don't know, Fast Six. I don't know. He's a working actor. He's a working actor, and I feel like he is super talented, right? I think he's upper echelon talented, but I think he's underrated, where not a lot of people have those same sentiments, or he's not getting put in the limelight or in the forefront like I feel like he deserves. So for me, I will always cast Luke Evans in something. And Luke Evans as Jurian. And if you know the books, you know who Jurian is. Jurian is a deep dive of a character, and also like a key piece of like propelling a lot of things together for the characters in 3 of the books. So Luke Evans as Jurian. Last but not least, and I pondered deeply within my mind, thinking about this the entire time of coming up with this second list of these characters, is Lee Pace as King Hybern of Hybern. But King Hybern is the antagonist of the overall of the series, or the first 3 books, and he is a Fey supremacist. He's a Fey supremacist and down with humanity. That's definitely where his head is at. And the thing is about Lee Pace, now I never watched Pushing Up Daisies, but the thing about you know, he was Ronan. I loved him as Ronan, and people were just like, Ronan is a nothing burger, but I love the work that he did as Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. But there's this show that I'm highly recommending. Yo, I'm telling you, I am a TV connoisseur, right? That is something that I do on my pastime for enjoyment. And the one show that I loved him in was Halt and Catch Fire. And I feel like Halt and Catch Fire should have been a big phenomenon, just like Succession, or just like any other of those HBO marquee hit shows, Game of Thrones as well, or even Breaking Bad. I think that Halt and Catch Fire did have its fan base. Halt and Catch Fire did last 5 seasons, but it was about trying to be innovative in the tech space in the 80s and going into the 90s, of just trying to revolutionize and get in on technology and paving the way. And he was a yuppie from that time period, a money man, a salesman, and he believed in the vision of where computers were going, and he just gave a great performance. And I feel like he just has the face, the structure, the cadence, the gravitas of being this antagonist. And just from his work in the Hobbit films, that's pretty much what Highburn is, playing Legolas' dad. So there's that. And so those are my actors that I would also put into A Court of Thorn and Roses if I was to do the series. So let me know all your thoughts about who you would cast. Who's your favorite casting of the characters from that series? As I said, I read the first 3 books. Another announcement, please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the second channel. This video will be on both of those channels. And then also check to see what Couchgod is doing. Just subscribe. This video is sponsored by viewers like you, so please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Down in the comments we have merch for sale. Definitely could help support the channel. With all that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to an end, and I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day, because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.
Mouth on top, kung fu, Bruce Lee chop, moon rocks, go Red Sox, tryna go far like boondocks, headshot, blunt stay hot, talking shit, gotta pull up on they block, you fraud, I'm Couchgod, know you got a tax like a state charge, safe house, safe house, safe house.